Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take the second half of the show to take your live comments and questions, if you're watching the show live. But what happens if you're one of those people who watches the show one of the other 22 hours during the day, and you want to get a question in for me or Rob or sometimes both of us? Well, that's why we've got Mailbag here. And the way you send in a question for Mailbag is really simple. Simply go down into the description of this video, and you'll see a tip link. Go down and click on that there, or you can enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your comment or question read on Mailbag if, of course, we deem your comment or question appropriate to be used on Mailbag. And, of course, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys so much for your support. Okay, guys, as you can tell, I am not in studio or I'm not in my new offices. We are in Las Vegas. I am in my hotel room right now. It is Tuesday morning at 9:30 in the morning, and we have some mailbag questions to get to. And of course, a little bit later today, we've got the Warner Brothers presentation. I have no idea what they're going to be showing us. All I know is that last night Sony did their presentation and it was bonkers good. They showed us the first 15 minutes of Bullet Train, the new Brad Pitt movie. Crazy good. They showed us the first 15 minutes of the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Crazy good. They showed us a lot of previews for a lot of other stuff. Anyway, Sony's presentation was fantastic. Really excited about Warner Brothers though. And so that's coming up a little bit later today on Tuesday. Make sure you join us here on the channel. We'll do a live stream once we come out of that presentation. But for now, let's get over and take some of the questions that you guys have been sending in to us, shall we? We're going to start things off here with Dangerous Lee, who writes, name suggestion. Everybody's got name suggestions for the show. No Pants Daily, probably can't go with that. Cheers, been a viewer for nearly 10 years. Well, thank you for being a viewer for nearly 10 years, man. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I announced like over a month ago that I'm looking to change the name of the John Campea Show. I want to take my name out of it. And so I don't want it to have my name or any direct references to me. And I don't want it to have the word movies or cine or real, like REEL or anything like that. But I'm trying to come up with a new name, and I've been trying for a new month, and it's hard. I haven't come up with a good one yet. I've gotten some interesting suggestions from you guys, but I haven't come up with one yet. So still working on it. Don't know when we'll get around to doing that. All right. Next up, Sam Fisher writes, last week, a bunch of Egyptologists ID'd and translated some real why am I tripping over this word? I've said it 1,000 times. Hieroglyphics on the scarab. I'm assuming you mean from Moon Knight, and being from the Book of the Dead. So now everyone is theorizing Moon Knight is an allegory for Mark's journey through the underworld, especially within that with that line in episode 1 from that girl about him being dead. And episode 4 just seemed to confirm it with him getting shot and the hospital rocking like a boat on rough waters for a few moments before Mark finds Stephen. Well, here's the thing. As far as that hospital goes, that's clearly not real. Like whatever's going on in that hospital, that's not real, clearly, right? So what is it? Is it a vision? Is he on another plane of dimension? I mean, I don't know. Look, I do know this. When Disney confirmed that Moon Knight is a one-season show, they confirmed that when they submitted it at the Emmys for Best Limited Series, which means there cannot be another season of it, it opened up the doors for a lot of different possibilities about what this could be, and maybe that plays into it, Sam. All right, thanks for writing that in, man. Next up, Team Amber Heard writes, something us in the comments would love to have would be timestamps for topics. Never going to happen in the videos. I think YouTube has a quick way to do it. They don't. Has a quick way to do it now. Can you please look into it? No. Bless you sweet baby angel. Love me undies. The stains wash out easily. I got to tell you what, when I got my first, like when I take on a new sponsor, you know, they send me their product first. I try it out first, and I've turned down sponsorships. When the MeUndies thing came, I thought, well, this one's a little bit silly, but oh my God, when I put on the MeUndies, I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I'm ever going back, because Anyway, I won't go into that. But yes, I'm a very happy MeUndies customer now myself. That being said, no, I'm never going to put in timestamps on stuff for two important reasons. Number one, my videos are meant to be long-form discussions between myself and the audience. And look, anybody can just open up YouTube and scroll through. If all you're interested in is finding one particular thing you want to hear talked about, you can open up the video and scroll through. But I don't want to make it easier to do that because my videos are meant to be longer form conversations. And, not everybody can sit down through an entire video, but you can come back to it if you want. And if you really don't want to, then you can scroll and find it. Now, for the main John Campea show, this especially, I don't want to put in timestamps there because it's especially not necessary because we also put up individual segments of all the videos. So if all you want to hear us talk about is Tom Cruise's new car, I'm just making that up, but let's say there's a news story about Tom Cruise's new car, we actually segment that out and make it its own standalone video as well. So there's really no need for us to time stamp it. So yeah, and not to mention, especially on something like Mailbag where there's like 60, 70 questions, I don't know about you, but I don't have the time to go through. First of all, I don't even philosophically want there to be timestamps, but even if I did, I don't have the time once I'm done actually recording, processing, doing some post-production on it, uploading it, doing the thumbnail, writing the metadata and stuff like that, and ultimately getting it posted. I don't have time to go through 40, 50, 60, 70 questions and put in timestamps. So yeah, that will probably never happen. I've gotten that request before. But yeah, that's why I have no interest in, again, it's more of a philosophical thing for me, but I appreciate you asking, man. And yes, enjoy MeUndies. All right, next up. Kevin Feige, the real Kevin Feige, writes in, remember the original design for Sonic? Yes. Imagine if that had been released after the dislike button was removed from YouTube. Do you think they would still have changed the design since the public outcry wouldn't have been as clear? Would Sonic 2 still exist? Well, here's the thing. I never thought they should have gone back and redesigned Sonic. Now, don't misunderstand me. The new design of Sonic looks way better. There's no denying that. The new design of Sonic looks way better. But the movie would have been the same. It's still the same movie. It still would have been John Ralphio's voice reading the exact same lines of dialogue and Sonic doing the exact same thing. And while it would have been a version of Sonic that clearly didn't look as good, we as audiences get over that stuff real fast when we're actually watching the movie. And so I contend that it really didn't make much of a difference. I mean, other than, yes, Sonic looked way better. But Sonic looking better didn't make the movie better. The movie was really good because it was great characters and funny dialogue and endearing moments and some exciting scenes. Jim Carrey rocked. All those are reasons why the movie was good. The movie wasn't good because the character didn't look so great or the character did look great, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. A great example of this is, I keep going back to this one, but the CW show Black Lightning, right? It was a really good show. I really, really liked Black Lightning. But it had the most awful, ugly costume. The costume on Black Lightning was horrible. Looked absolutely terrible. Didn't take anything away from the show, though. And I still kind of think while the new design absolutely was an improvement, 100% the new design was an improvement, it didn't ultimately really practically make the movie better. So I still think personally, we'll never know obviously, but I personally think that yes, Sonic 2 would have still existed. But that's just my opinion, Kevin. All right, next up. We've got Banjo who writes, there's a video game channel on YouTube. They talk about what went wrong with badly received games. Would love to see you do something on your channel for movies. Ideas, John Carter, X-Men Origins, Wolverine, Men in Black International, Morbius. I mean, I can. I'm not going to lie. I've thought about doing that before. But there are other channels that do stuff like that already. Now, you may, rightfully say, but John, lots of channels do movie reviews and you do movie reviews. That's a valid point. Yeah, that's a valid point. I don't know. That might be interesting. But here's the problem. I generally like to stay positive. right? Like that's why Movie Club, our show Movie Club, it's a celebration. It's a celebration of the movies we love, right? I do post-game shows for shows that we really like. I very, very rarely, if you go through my videos list, will you find a negative video. You will sometimes, right? You definitely will sometimes. But like if we're talking about AMC Adam Aaron or something like that. But for the most part, I like to think if you go through my videos list, at least 8 to 9 out of 10 will be positive, right? I just kind of like being positive. I don't like dwelling on the stuff I don't like. So like take a movie like you suggested here, Men in Black International. I don't like that movie. But why dwell on it? Why beat a dead horse? Like everybody knows that movie wasn't received well. Do we really need to go back and look, I'm not dissing. Let me be clear here. I'm not dissing on other channels that do videos like this. I think there's really good benefit to doing it. I think that's great for them. For me, I just try to steer more positive. But look, I'm not saying never. It is an interesting thing because it could be an interesting look at maybe finding common themes and threads about why certain movies don't work. I mean, that could be interesting. I'm just saying my initial thought is no initially, but maybe if I give it some thought and talk to Ray and Rob and Chris about it, maybe we'll think there's a good idea in there. But yeah, my initial recoil to it is just because I like to stay more positive and focus on the stuff we like as opposed to the stuff we don't like. But anyway, that's just me. Great suggestion, Banjo. Thanks for writing that in. All right, next up, we got Connor DeRoyne, who writes, show names, real talk. Just, I don't want the word real in it. I don't want, in any title we get, I don't want the word real in it. Real talk. You're welcome. Producer credit, please. Kidding aside, a big fan and congrats for the new office. Thank you so much, Connor. Appreciate that. And yeah, I'm loving the new office. I am. But it's also a source of unspeakable stress right now. It is bloody expensive moving into that new office, not just the office itself, but getting all the gear that we need for it, the new furniture we need for it. There's a lot of crap we need to put in there, and it's really expensive. And we're on a little bit of a deadline, so it's an unbearable source of stress right now, but it's also super exciting. So thank you for that, Connor. Appreciate that. All right, next up, Eric Rodriguez writes, a couple of ideas for your new show name. Since your show reminds me of ESPN, but for movies, how about MEPN? MEPN, Movies and Entertainment Programming Network, or Around the Theater. That's not bad, except it's too movie specific, but Around the Theater's not bad. Link to Around the Horn, because that's one of my favorite sports shows. Just a thought. Regardless, thanks for your shows. Well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate the suggestion. Around the Theater's not bad. I don't want anything that is specific to just movies like theater is, but it's not a bad idea. Thanks for that, Eric. All right, next up, Alberta J writes, hi, crew. I love Alberta, by the way. Thought I would add my 2 cents regarding show names. I think Media Slices, not a big fan of that, or Daily Media Slice has potential, reflects touching on different media types, rolls off the tongue, is distinctive for SEO, subtitles, good media slices, mailbag thoughts. I'm not going to lie, Alberta J, while I love the province of Alberta, I'm not a big fan of slice. Not a big fan of that. No, I probably won't be using that. It's no worse, though, than any of the ideas I've come up with. I haven't come up with any good ones myself, but I probably won't be using that one. But thank you for taking the time to send in the suggestion, man. I appreciate that. All right, next up. Devin writes, hey, John and or Rob, today it's me. With one of the GOATs, Bruce Willis, now retired, respectfully, I'm a big Die Hard fan and was hoping for a Die Hard 6. Unfortunately, not going to happen now, but with anything possible these days, chances they can find a younger guy to keep it going. I don't think so. And I'll be honest with you. Even if, let's say Bruce Willis wasn't retiring because of his health issues, I still don't think they would be doing a Die Hard 6. I know they were trying to get one going. They had this one that would be jumping back and forth between time with him today, and then it would be flashing back to him as a young rookie cop starting out. Like that whole idea was floating around. It never got off the ground. Honestly, I think the Die Hard franchise is done. I think we got some great ones. 1, 2, I think 3 is the best one of the bunch. The other ones had mixed receptions at best. I think it's just time to put that franchise to bed. I do. And now they can reboot it someday, and that's perfectly fine. But I think the series itself, as far as doing 6, I personally think that's done. But that's just me, Devin. Thanks for the question, man. All right, next up. Joe Fauchot, right. So, and sends in like a $20 tip. Thank you, Joe Fauchot. I really appreciate that, man. And Joe Fauchot writes, which do you think is more likely? Someone from the DCEU, Justice League, joining the MCU as a big character, or someone from the Avengers in the MCU joining the DCU? I'm going to assume you mean in terms of actors, not characters, because obviously Batman is not joining the MCU, right? So I'm going to assume you mean actors. I mean, it's equal chance. Remember, actors, when they join one movie, they're not contractually obligated that you can't work for another studio and work on their movies. That's actually illegal. They can't do that. So, and then you've already got many actors out there who have already appeared in both sides, right? Whether you're looking at, why am I freezing on his name here? Hold on a second. Why am I totally freezing on his name right now? Whether you are talking about Morpheus. Why am I freezing on Morpheus's name? Anyway, Fishburne, Lawrence Fishburne, there it is. Whether you're talking about Lawrence Fishburne, who has obviously appeared in the DCEU as Perry White, and he's appeared in the MCU in the Ant-Man franchise. So you've had that. Chris Evans has appeared in multiple things. I mean, granted, one was Fox, but not DCEU. So there's already precedent for it. Any actor can go back and forth at any time. So I would say it's a total 50-50 coin toss because it's got equal chances across the board. That's my thought on that. Thanks a lot for that, Joe. All right. Next up, and again, Joe, thank you so much for tipping in $20 and supporting us on that level, man. That's very kind of you. All right, guys, listen, before we keep going, let's jump over and thank one of the sponsors of the John Campea videos while we're off here at CinemaCon, the wonderful service Masterclass.
Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.
And a special thank you to the folks at Masterclass for sponsoring this video here on the John Campea channel. Again, guys, I love Masterclass. Rob uses it a lot too. Absolutely go and check it out. And remember, guys, when you use one of our sponsors and you support one of our sponsors, you're actually supporting our show as well. So thank you to everybody who does. All right, let's keep going here. Next up, we've got Jordan who writes, "Hey, John, saw yesterday Doctor Strange 2 was getting banned in other countries, a couple of other countries, not all other countries, in a couple of other countries. I know it's a pretty regular thing for American-made movies, but do you think this will affect ticket sales? Also, a name suggestion, Around the Campfire with John Campea. Thanks." Well, remember, one of the main things about our new name is I want my name taken out of it, so that one probably won't work. Yeah, so Doctor Strange 2 has been banned in a couple of countries. For the reason, like I think Egypt is one of them, because they have a gay character. America Chavez is a gay character in the Marvel comics, and apparently she is in the movie as well. And to some countries, that's a no-no. Whatever. So yeah, will it have an effect on ticket sales? Absolutely. one less ticket sale is an effect. Will it have a noticeable effect on ticket sales? I don't think so. Look, in all other things being equal, would Marvel like their film to be playing in Egypt and other countries like that? Sure, because that's more money they're going to make. But at the end of the day, is it going to be a noticeable chunk of change difference? Not really. So, yeah, it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. All right, thanks a lot for that, Jordan. And thanks for supporting us, man. Next up, Vengeance to Hope writes, a little Batman reference there. Show titles: Rob v. John of Filthy, clearly not. Campea's Angels, again, I don't want my name in it. Film Church, I don't want a specific reference to movie, film, whatever, but that is a fun one. That's an interesting one. Film Church, because of the Daily Fellowship of Film. I like that. Just some random stupid ideas. Hope you have a laugh at least. Thank you for all the fun. Well, thank you, man, for writing in your suggestions. I kind of like, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I was trying to leave out specific references to just movies or just film, because obviously on the John Campea Show, we cover a lot more streaming and TVs now as well today. But if it wasn't for that, Film Church isn't bad. I kind of dig that because I have a bit of a church background myself. So Film Church, that's kind of cool. Thank you for the suggestion, man. All right, next up. Monkey Boy writes, hey guys, I want to hear your thoughts on Star-Lord's role in Thor Love and Thunder. I think it'd be really funny if he mentions how Ego was his dad in front of Gore. I don't think he has a good grasp on Celestials. Celestial doesn't equal God. Do you think his role will be much bigger? That's a good question. Like, we were having this discussion when Thor, the Love and Thunder trailer came out. We saw that it looks like the beginning, Thor is with the Guardians, and then at some point he says goodbye to them and they fly away and he's left behind. He's going off to find his own path or whatever. So that could be it, right? The one thing that makes me think that Star-Lord and the Guardians come back later in the film is because on the toy, remember we talked a couple of weeks ago about those Thor Love and Thunder toys got leaked? On the packaging for the Star-Lord toy, I'm paraphrasing here, but it says something along the lines of that he and his friends have to unite to face a new terrifying enemy or whatever, right? Now, that might mean nothing, but to me, it kind of suggests that whereas the Guardians and Thor go their separate ways, like we see in the trailer, to me, it suggests that Thor goes and gets them to come back to help them. Thor goes back to help them, to get them to help him with Gore later. So my guess right now is that we do see more of the Guardians, including Star-Lord, a little bit later in the film. That's my guess right now. We'll see if we're right or not. All right, thanks for writing that in, Monkey Boy. Next up, Marjin writes, hey, John, hope you already considered, so we try this again. Have you already considered to use your favorite catchphrase as the new name of the show, The Filth? No, because again, that's kind of a direct reference to me, and I'm trying to get direct references to me out of the show title. So no, I'm not going to use that. The Filth or That Filthy Show or something like that. Short, simple, catchy, plus your audience already knows it. Good luck on deciding. Yeah, again, because of my general thing that I want my name out of it, like my personal, anything that's considered like a catchphrase that's connected to me, I probably also don't want that in the title. But a lot of, you're not alone, Marjin. A lot of people have written in suggesting different titles with the word filthy in it, and totally understandable. But I'm probably going to try to keep that out of any future title. So that's just me. But thank you for the suggestion, man. I appreciate it. Okay, next up, we've got Vincent Marshall, who writes, hey, John and crew. Watching since the 6th grade. Well, thank you so much for that. And now going to college. Just admitted to USC as a film/TV production major. Congratulations, man. That's huge. My wife just graduated with her 4th degree from USC. Anyway, very excited. I have a show name idea. Okay. This is Cinema. Again, it's specific to movies, and I probably don't want to do that. Like the Scorsese memes. People tune in to see the state of cinema today. Thanks. Again, very cool idea. I like the little thing with the pop cultural reference to, of course, Marty Scorsese's criticisms about comic book movies and whatever. But again, I don't want the word movie, cine, cinema, whatever, because it's too specific just to movies, because again, we do cover more streaming and TV now today too. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. And congrats again on the USC entry. It's not easy to get into USC, so congratulations on that. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. I hope you have great success there, man. All right. Next up, Thomas writes, "Hey, John and or Rob, just me today. When Professor X appears in Doctor Strange 2, will he reference the events of the Fox X-Men films? No. Or could it be a Daredevil situation and he won't even be the exact same version of himself from past X-Men films? I think it's pretty clear that it's not going to be the Professor X that we saw in the Fox films. To me, that seems pretty obvious. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, we'll go in and we'll watch the movie and we'll see for certain. I believe this is going to be a universe's version of Professor X. I think he's going to have a lot of similarities to the Fox X-Men universe Professor X. But remember, we've already seen the end of the Fox X-Men Professor X, right? We've already seen him die. Well, a couple of times. So I think this will be another universe's version, just like I think Daredevil is a different Daredevil than the Daredevil from the show. There's going to be a hell of a lot of similarities, almost identical. But there will also be minor differences that will give Marvel the flexibility to do whatever they want and make up any backstory they want for this iteration of Matt Murdock, as opposed to the ones that was on Netflix. And I think they're going to do the same thing here with this Professor X. And I don't think this Professor X is going to be in the movie long. I think he's going to pop up. He's going to be there for a bit. I think Wanda's going to show up and she's going to wipe out the Illuminati. I don't know that. I'm just theorizing that, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Oh, I'm very excited for the movie, though. All right. Yumi writes, "Show name suggestions. Since you often start the show with where we talk about movies, TV, streaming, and all sorts of good stuff, why don't you just call it All the Good Stuff? Can't wait to see what you end up with. Best of luck for the move." Well, thank you so much, because we do need all the luck in the world we can get for the move. I mean, it's tough too right now because we just started moving in and now all of us are here in Vegas. We're all here in Vegas. Except for fact checker Jonathan Voico, fact checker Jonathan. He's back in at the studio now. He continues the work alone this week, trying to get the studio ready while the rest of us are out here in Vegas attending CinemaCon. But thank you for that, man. All right, and as far as the name goes, probably not. I don't think that's a good. All the good stuff. I think that sounds like, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like a good podcast title for a mom's podcast. For a mom's talking about motherhood podcast. All the good stuff. That sounds like a great title for a podcast like that. I don't know if it applies to mine, but I appreciate the suggestion, Yumi. All right, next up. We got Sam Fisher, who writes, people cried spoiler when a Funko leak revealed that there will be a Captain Marvel pop for the Miss Marvel pop line. Is this really a spoiler? Shouldn't we have expected Captain Marvel to be in Miss Marvel in some capacity? The characters are intrinsically linked, and Ms. Marvel is going to be in Captain Marvel 2. Well, remember, that's not the name of the movie. The name of the movie is The Marvels. The name of the movie is not Captain Marvel 2, it is The Marvels. But yes, so Ms. Marvel is clearly going to be in that. But for all we know, Captain Marvel is in Miss as either a cameo at the end or just through news footage. Yeah, look, obviously I don't consider the fact that there's a Funko Pop toy of Captain Marvel from the Ms. Marvel line, I don't consider that a spoiler. Look, even in the trailer for Ms. Marvel, we see her dressing up as Captain Marvel, right? Her name is a direct influence from Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is her hero. So we are either going to see Brie Larson in this show, or at very minimum, we're going to see Ms. Marvel watching Captain Marvel on TV or footage or something like that. But yeah, the tricky thing here is, Sam, is that different people have different interpretations for what a spoiler is. And that's what makes spoiler discussions around the internet like so freaking challenging. Because to some people like myself, this is what a spoiler is. A spoiler is a piece of information that if you find out about it before the movie happens, it fundamentally alters your experience with the movie as the director intended. For example, Sixth Sense, right? Bruce Willis is dead the whole time. Okay. If you know that piece of information before watching that movie, it fundamentally changes the experience you have with the movie as you're watching it, as the director intended it, right? That legitimately is a spoiler. Planet of the Apes, right? When he realizes he's been on Earth the whole time. If you know that going into the movie, it fundamentally changes your experience with the movie. That's a spoiler. Usual Suspects. If you find out that he is actually Kaiser Soze, that fundamentally changes your viewing experience of the movie as the director intended it. So for people like me, it's an extreme situation. That's what I call a spoiler. But then lots of people have much looser definitions of spoilers. Like, without exaggeration, I remember once we were talking about a movie and I said, look, in the second act, there's this car chase, right? And just pretty much that. And I had a couple of people really pissed off. Thanks for the spoiler, John. What spoiler? You said there's a car chase. Okay, yeah, lots of movies have... Wait a minute, are you saying just me telling you there's a car chase in the movie, not even telling you anything about the car chase or why the car chase is happening or who's involved in the car chase, just telling you there's a car chase, you consider that a spoiler? You spoiled it for me. I wanted to be surprised. I mean, so different people have different levels, and there's 20 different levels of what they consider a spoiler and what they do not. Look, obviously to me, that, what you're describing, Sam, is not a spoiler, but yeah, there are some people out there that will consider it. You could literally tell people, so there's this scene where a couple of the characters are having dinner. Spoiler, right? So it makes it tricky because different people have different definitions. There's no one agreed upon definition for what a spoiler is, and that makes it a little bit tricky for us being film fans. All right, next up. Casso writes, name suggestion, Behind the Screens or Cinematrix. I'm also 100% high, so these can be trashed. Well, at least, Queso, you are very self-aware. You know, Behind the Screens isn't bad. That's not bad. I don't mind that one. I'm not necessarily going to use it, but that's actually not a bad one. Cinematrix, no. Again, just because I don't want the word cinema in it. Not just because it's a direct reference to movies, but because 1,000 websites, YouTube channels, and podcasts have the word cine in it or screen in it, right? But still, Behind the Screens, though, that's not bad. I'm going to keep that one in mind. All right, Alan Dale writes, new show names. Screen segments, The Bigger Picture. The Bigger Picture, that's not a bad name for a segment. I don't know if that's a good name for a show, but for an individual segment, The Bigger Picture, that's... See, now I'm thinking about that. Anyway, thanks for writing that in, Alan. Okay, next up. Sam Fisher writes, one of two, John, if you want to hear another cool Doctor Who story, and I don't watch Doctor Who, I have one. For season 7, BBC was going to unveil John Hurt as a previously unseen Doctor. 210 fans in the US got their season 7 DVDs a week early with the final episode. The BBC called every single fan in the US and asked them politely not to spoil the ending of the season. And guess what? No one did. And the showrunner, Stephen Moffat, was super impressed and heartwarmed at the fans respecting the BBC's wishes. That's a cool story. Now, you have to help me out. There's one little sour note here, though. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but when you say season 7, so I'm guessing this means a long time ago, and we're talking about DVDs, right? Yeah, DVD. So this is going back a while ago. I'm wondering if this is before the era of Twitter and social media. Because I wonder today if that exact same thing happened and it was just so easy for somebody to jump on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or YouTube or whatever and share it. I wonder if the fans would have been as gracious. Because it would have been so much easier to spoil it. But you know what? Let's just see the good in the world here. Sam, that is a kind of a nice story that the BBC directly reached out to these people and they just respected their wishes and didn't spoil it for people. That's a pretty cool story. Thanks for never mind me trying to spoil it. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, next up, Spoon Knight writes, wrote in the other day about Mark in Moon Knight potentially sharing a body with Shadow Knight. Wanted to clarify that I think this is Jake, but an evil take. Shadow Knight being his hero suit, maybe he was even the one to kill Layla's father. Thanks. Well, I mean, what you're saying has some possibilities. I don't think he's the one that killed Layla's father, because Mark already clearly laid out what happened. There was an individual, a person that he was partnered with, and then that partner turned on them, shot him, all that kind of stuff, thought he was going to die, and that's when he met Khonshu. So I think that's they made it pretty clear in that episode that there was another individual. One that we didn't see, so I don't think that'll be it. But the idea that this could be a Jake character, and the Jake character could be an embodiment of Shadow Knight, that's definitely a possibility, and who knows? We'll see where they go with that.